My name is Tanya Curry, and this is this week's Acumen Media Report. The report is entitled, I Would Rather Fall on My Sword, the Double Entendre. We started off the week by learning that over half of all PPE tenders carried fraudulent activity. The media used the term over half, but the true number is 61%. The media missed a trick. It's almost 2/3 of all PPE tenders were found to be irregular. Why do we call it irregular? The truth is, it's pretty regular. I'd say it's more the norm than the unusual. Double entendre, regular expenditure. Let me take you back a bit to the beginning of the pandemic. Ramaphosa told us that there would be open books all the way on the PPE. During this time, I was still in love with the president, and I thought then he's giving the men enough rope, and then it won't be his fault when they fall on their swords. And here we are today with a list of irregular expenditures, and no doubt another commission that'll make our eyes water, that is likely to be followed by a few good years of investigations and some telly watching where we bluff ourselves that justice will be served. Then fast forward 5 years at the very least, and then no one will go to jail. Regular expenditure. Which brings me to the lead story of this week. Someone kept audio from the CR17 campaign. That's at least 5 years ago. Imagine how long that is in cell phone lifetimes. At least 3 if you're with Vodacom. I digress. That person took the audio and kept it safe for 5 years in case they needed it. For a rainy day when there was a factional split in the ANC and Zuma still wants to rule the country. Oh, okay, wait. That has been going on for a long time, hasn't it? So maybe I'm overreaching. Regardless, the audio is leaked.
Investigations will reveal that a lot of money, of public money, was used. And I said in this case, I am prepared to fall on the sword.
Where our president is heard saying that he would rather fall on his sword than for the public to finally hear that their public money was used to advance certain campaigns. My first thought was, well, don't they always use public funds? I mean, sure, they tell us they shouldn't, but I never expected anything less from any of our electioneering, to be fair. I thought it was just regular expenditure. My friends, something is off. Something smells like a dead rat under a burnt pile of insurrection ashes. That something is the RET and the recent events where Lindiwe Sisulu took shots at our judiciary and in doing so our constitution. Vomiting the same narrative of the Zumas and Makashule, the constitution is optional. That's what they want us to believe. This time it started with the suspension of Mervyn Dirks, an RET loyalist. We still don't know why Mervyn was suspended, but it caused a big stir when he called on Scopa to lift his suspension and investigate the president's misuse of public funds with this leaked audio. Side note, can we stop calling these things leaked? The word we're looking for is published. Look, I don't want to minimize the cataclysm of the leaked audio, but we all see this for what it is, right? Another attempt to overthrow the president. Look around you. There is nothing but fraud and corruption within the corridors of the ANC and now the RET. Here, where the Zumas are working on really radically transforming our economy. They've seen what happens when you gut a country, not just the PPE that's meant to save lives and hungry household. A gutted country forgets about millions and starts using billions. And a gutted country waits 12 years for no justice whatsoever. We watch commissions, hawks, Concourt, and heavy-hitting judges who are futile during the looting of a country. We have forgotten about the insurrection. We forgot about the attack on Concourt. We forgot about Parliament's burning. And this week we didn't even blink when Waterkloof went up in flames. We found explosives on the highway during December. We've seen hospitals, communication towers and factories all burn in the name of regular expenditure. Give us a break, Lindiwe and your RET. We see you. If the president falls on his sword, so will all of you. That, my dear, is a double entendre you are relying on. You and your cronies make it completely acceptable to spend whatever you like from wherever suits, and now you want one man to fall on his sword. Of course, Ramaphosa ate from the coffers of our heavily burdened public. He was the deputy to Zuma, after all. He knows it all. He is complicit, as is every single member of government, not just the ANC. We are not fooled by this regular expenditure. We are not even fooled when Malema says he will join forces with the RET to unseat the ANC. We know we are being played. The other enormous story this week was Albert Fritz and the alleged sexual misconduct within his office. He apparently preyed on young women in the workplace. Sexual misconduct, they call it. Can we drop that term too and use sexual predator? Winder, the guy who with Zilla's old job, the Premier of the Western Cape, took to the media to say that the matter is being handled swiftly, and Fritz withdrew as a provincial leader of the DA. Do you remember Zephanie Nurse, the baby who was stolen at birth and then raised to an adult? She only learned that she was kidnapped when she was around 18. Well, Fritz took her in and gave her a job. She is now willing to testify on yet another trauma in her life. Just another person trampled on by politics. Regular expenditure. Last week, the EFF took to the streets to check quotas on foreigners working in South Africa like a labour inspector. Julius took his clipboard and shouted, "Put South Africans first." Our own slogan for xenophobia and another double entendre. Mashaba said that a number of raids had taken place to confront businesses accused of illegal activity and non-compliance. Raids on Africans, huh? Nice, very nice. Gayton McKenzie also jumped on the bandwagon and said 100% of jobs are to be reserved for South Africans. He did add that an exception would be if they had a specialised skill. What specialised skill exactly? A decent education and a willingness to work, because that is all you're seeing here, Gayton. Foreigners working amongst an unemployable nation due to a failed education system and a lack of effective border control. You guys, though, you call Mugabe a hero and then slam consequences of his radical economic transformation of Zimbabwe. I have a question about this education system of ours and the impact that it has on our nation. Why aren't we all making way for artisan work in our education space? Why isn't there a set of classes that gives functional English, no need for Afrikaans, English classes that teach you how to answer the phone, set up an email, understand banking and credit, classes that teach you to budget, generate an invoice, how to give a decent handshake, and a set of artisan skills. I don't understand why on earth anyone who is going to make a fortune being a plumber, and I'm sure you'll agree that there are only a few decent plumbers out there, I don't believe that person will ever need to know about the types of clouds in the sky. When will we educate our nation to earn a decent living? I promise you the doctors will still become doctors, but those who don't want to study for a further 10 years can be equipped to make a living instantly. When will our children become more than just regular expenditure? There is other news. I'm getting grumpy and I'd rather not talk about it, but it's my job. There was a rate hike that'll make your eyes water. Ace's son was cleared in the PPE scandal. The BA lost a door from its plane as the passenger disembarked. Nomvulo Mokonyane got hammered this week for regular expenditure. The CCMA said that the workplace can enforce vaccination. Chief Buthelezi is in hospital, and then that story went very quiet. And then, what must be the most indulgent and funny story of the week is the national lunch date. Pearl Tuzzi and Mr. Smeg, only in South Africa can you become an influencer because of a kettle, had a love affair over Twitter and are going on a lunch date. I thought it was so cute and organic, I loved it. And then, enter marketing greed. Sponsorship of lavish vehicles and restaurants filled timelines as the poor read just how gluttonous this event was going to be. The sad thing is Twitter didn't see the double entendre. It was a national lunch date according to them, but there was no national here at all. Let me cheer you up. if you don't already know it, Wordle is the best thing to hit the planet since an asteroid. You get 5 guesses on a 5-letter word. There is only one word a day, and if you don't get it, you have to wait until tomorrow for the next one. Today I got it in 3 guesses. My personal best. Just Google it. You'll feel better. Well, unless you need a 6th guess, and then it'll drive you mad. Take a break this weekend with your Wordle. I'm Tanya Curry, and you've just scratched the media surface with Acumen Media.